Hello and welcome back to another episode of Tech Stand Up Podcast. Today I am joined by, introduce yourself, Jason.
Jason Wojo. I'm 21 years old. I'm from Walden, New York. I am the CEO and owner of Wojo Media, which is a full advertising and social media consulting agency. I'm also diving into digital marketing as well right now. Currently, I just hired somebody to help me out with that side of my business. So we're bringing on new clients for, story ads, those Facebook feed ads. You see all those cool animations for. So yeah, it's basically it.
So Jason, real quick, you say you're from New York. I have to ask this question. Yankees?
No, I honestly don't watch that much baseball. I don't. And
Really?
you know what's funny though? Basketball, I'm a Lakers fan.
Oh, God. Okay. Well, I live in Massachusetts, right? And
Yeah.
for me, I'm a Yankee fan. I'm a diehard Yankee fan. So I always got to ask, now if you said you like the Giants, I might have to say, come on.
Yeah. No, of course I do like the Giants. I mean,
No, the Patriots.
oh God.
Guys, the Giants, just from those two. No, they have some good stuff. But you actually touched on a couple things. Let me ask you this because I did a little research on you prior to, and one of the things is I follow you on Instagram, and I see that Instagram is a platform that's been around for years. But how did you get into social media, seeing how you were in the financial industry and you seem to be going
Yeah.
successful path that way, and then you just shifted focus?
Yeah, I mean, it's not that I didn't so much shift focus. I just used what I learned to better my social media skills because I was in the financial industry and I was learning a lot, obviously about financial, analysis and technical analysis. But I was also like the head of marketing there on the side as well. So I was learning things there that I could then, put into my own business, like SEO, just a lot of like, advertisement kind of techniques. And I turned that into what my Instagram is now.
Yeah.
And, when you say that, I sort of like switched routes. I still want to be a part of the financial industry because when I get out of school, I'm going to have this on the side always because you have to have as many streams of income as possible. That's the biggest piece of advice I can give people. It really does help. And I kind of want to be a part-time financial planner on the side too as well so I can balance both industries out, basically.
Yeah, no, I guess, yeah. So being that you're 17 years younger than I, right? We were touching base on this on the pre-show. Um, where do you see social media heading for your generation, and what should companies be looking at? Because eventually, you know, I hate to use the age gap as a thing, but cultures within companies are going to shift, right?
Yes.
As that culture shifts, where should businesses start to focus on the younger culture?
I mean, they should already be focusing on our younger culture on all media platforms, on every single one, because too many companies are spending money on TV advertisements and they're very expensive. Like they don't understand the ROI and just using Facebook ads. That's what all of us are on. We're all using Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. We're all using these apps. And if they're not taking advantage of it, and especially because it's cheap right now, it is very cheap compared to what Google Ads is now. Every single business should be speaking to us because we are most of the Instagram and there's obviously a lot more older people using Facebook, but most of the Instagram users are, I would probably say 13 to 30 would be a good age group to really describe that allocation. But I just don't know why some businesses haven't really reared towards fully focusing on social media because it's going to be the wave of where businesses are going to be headed in the next 5 years. And even this year, if you are not focused on Facebook, Instagram, you're losing very greatly. It's just the fact of the matter. There's just so much ROI in advertisement costs, the amount of attention you can grab, and just the amount of, I guess you can say, creative you can differentiate yourself by.
Yeah.
It's just that simple.
Would you say though that organizations have lost some trust in Facebook with the recent data breach? And
Yeah, yeah, there's always those things, but that's how they collect their data. When you make a profile, you're basically saying, "Hey, like I'm putting my public self out there." Yes, you can make your profile private, but that's not gonna, not be able to share your data. That's how we as business owners collect pixel data. You don't know what a Facebook pixel is, but like that's how we move our businesses across the space. That's how we navigate. And if we don't have that kind of data, not a lot of people are going to be able to afford Google ads because they're a lot more expensive. And plus, Facebook is already a platform where there were ads in the first place. That's how they monetize. That's how they make money.
Yeah. So why did you choose Instagram as your main platform that you seem to publish the most on?
I think I just like the feel of it, and I just think that there's going to be a lot more attention long term, and there already is right now. Instagram is a spot where people blow up, and you can navigate very quickly. If you have money or you have the right creative, you can run a ton of ads and get a bunch of followers. That's just the fact of the matter. I mean, when I recently released a podcast, how I went to 10K to 18K in 1 month. It's because I just ran Instagram story ads, but they're not cheap. But that's basically how I did it. And a lot of people are like struggling to get, a lot of followers, but it's not really about the followers though. It's about how you utilize who you have following you at the present moment. And that's the thing that I learned. That's why I stopped running ads for like a little bit recently, because I just don't, I don't really see the ROI in having a lot of followers until I really get them organically. Because I want people to be following me for like, the consistent content that I bring every single day.
Yeah. So,
I'd rather focus more on my business than, putting more money into just Instagram followers. It's just not ROI positive for me. I'd rather just make the money off my business, off my side hustles, and then just basically bring it right back into the business, keep feeding the beast. But as far as Instagram's concerned, it's just the way for all the young kids. It's just the thing. Everybody who's bored, they're sitting on the train, they're eating at Panera, they're bored, they're swiping on Instagram, they're swiping through their feed. It's where the attention is. Facebook is the same as that. Facebook has more users than Instagram.
yeah.
But Instagram's it's just that more, I guess you could say, for older people terms, a more childish platform for people to like put out memes and things. It's a better interactive platform for people to get to the real audience that they need.
Doesn't love a good meme, right?
I mean, yeah.
Good meme.
No, it's true.
He invested in Kickstarter. It was a what do you meme game or whatever. My wife's like, why
Yeah.
invested in these games? It's actually quite funny. We enjoy it. My most engaged post probably of all time on Instagram was a what do you meme one of this kid, like his face is all like, and it's like this like burning red face, and then there's something about sriracha blast from the butt or can't something like. But it was like the perfect compliment to each other, and it
Yeah.
traction. It didn't quite go viral, but to me, I found it interesting that so many people like it, because the way that I use Instagram and Facebook and my personal Twitter is it's just me, right? If you look at my Instagram, I'm not doing a lot of creative videos, and it's probably where I need to leverage more is my content strategy towards Instagram and how I could create some animated videos that showcase the podcast and so forth. I like doing these videos over live stuff.
Yeah.
But maybe it's something I need to dabble into. Not that I don't try to do anything to get thousands and thousands of followers. I just do it just because I enjoy doing it and have a lot of fun doing it.
Yeah.
But for me, I'm mainly in the enterprise technology space. So I worked with like HPE and HP, big technology companies, VMware. I'm going to be out in a conference next week doing as a blogger and covering an event as on social media on my channels and in the blog and stuff. So I'll be doing some videos there. But I look at it and I see someone with your hustle, right? Your drive and your passion. And you're not the norm from what I see from some of my children's friends, right?
Yeah.
I'm not the age. I'm just your worth ethic and your passion for, we'll say, social media, right? And doing it a little different. It's probably one of the driving factors as to why I started following you on Instagram, right? Because that's where we engage the most, you and I.
Yeah.
And I like that. And that's what I wanted to talk to you about is, but when I look at it from a business stance, what would you recommend for, and we'll just look at Instagram, how often a company should produce content for Instagram a day, from your opinion?
I mean, at least one to three times a day. You just have to be posting consistently, using the right hashtags. Documenting your business behind the scenes is going to give people a lot more perspective into what you're doing on a daily basis. Like for me, I'm posting stuff, I don't even know how many times, like maybe 1 to 7.
Yeah.
Depends. Like, some days are slow, some days are upbeat. So I want to, speak to my followers, give them some insight. And I don't know. I mean, if I work with Hustle Island right now, which is that clothing brand, and we post a lot of stuff. We have a lot of things going on. We have the Facebook group, we got the Instagram stories, giving a lot of social proof. We have I build behind the scenes. When I was saying in the beginning with the digital marketing side, I build those stories behind the scenes. We just got a lot of creative things going on. If you really want to build a really profitable long-term business, you really have to utilize social media. It's all psychology at the end of the day. If you're able to grab people's attention, it's ball game. That's all people need you to do, is grab their attention. As soon as you have their attention, now you have to focus on how you're going to turn that into either someone to join your community or money. It's that simple. Business revolves around money. If you're able to grab people's attention, then you win. It's that simple. So for me, just to answer that simply, you got to be posting consistently. You can't fall off, because that's going to show people that you're not interested in sharing with them what you have going on. That's how I look at it.
Yeah. No, I think you touched on a good point there. And you made me think of, I don't know, do you follow Carlos Gil on Twitter at all and so forth?
No, I don't.
So Carlos, he's a social media digital guy as well. He posted a question the other day on Twitter, and he said, what is your favorite channel to follow and why? So I said, one of my favorite brands, and for me it was Wendy's, the Wendy's Twitter account. And not just because they're funny at times, is that they're allowed to be genuine. So I think some of the challenges I've noticed within, especially from a corporate standpoint, and a lot of the processes that go into, and not even just the processes, but some of the political stuff that go into, this should be what we do, or we should be doing 10 to 12 tweets per day, blah, 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 of all canned messaging, right? And I'm like, no, you can't. And I'm not a firm believer in that. I say three to five, canned stuff that's telling a story. And this is where Wendy's hits it on the head, is they actually engage with the users. Sometimes they're funny, but other times they respond. They actually respond. And I think that genuinity, right? I don't even know if that's a word, but if it isn't, I just created it as a word. But that genuineness is what drives me for them. And I think that's ultimately what drives me to you, is your genuineness and your passion for learning social media and helping organizations to grow.
Yeah.
I think what made me think of having you on as a guest initially was your Instagram video where you're talking about perspective, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's when I started to think, wait a second, I hate to go back to the age gap thing, right? But let me get someone that's up and coming, right? That has a different perspective on social media, right? Because the stuff that you do and your experience with social media is different than mine, because I got involved with social media initially to follow a tech conference.
Yeah.
I just morphed into a social media and community role, whereas you've kind of grown up in that digital era, right? I didn't grow up in a digital era. The first time I touched a computer was when I was in the Army. I had to do it for some online training stuff that they did for military school to help towards promotions and stuff. And so for me, I like to get your perspective, because it's a different one. It's a different one than myself. Yeah. And it allows me to think and say, oh, I like that,
Yeah, I just think it's fun because I get to tell my story. It's literally that simple. I post things on my story. I give people my 2 cents on topics. It's literally me as a person on a feed of a profile. That's literally just who I am.
Yeah.
I like talking about human behavior. I like talking about inspirational things and how it affects us and how people interact and just things like that, because it affects business as well. Learning how people communicate and interact is just a whole nother ball game. That's when you really start winning, when you understand what people really want. and when they're actually wanting it. And like, that's just, I don't know. It's like a weird, I guess you can say like it's a weird topic to really dissect.
Yeah.
But just the fact of the matter is, like, I'm literally telling people my story. And then I turn that into leverage to then get clients for my agency, because they see I know how to navigate the space. So why can't I navigate the space for businesses and just like, you know, other people I help too. I help artists, personal brands, people who want to do the same thing I'm doing, but don't know what direction to go into. And I basically just help them hands on with that. And it's fun being able to see so many industries, interact with so many people, and honestly helping a lot of brands. Like, some days there's brands that I make hundreds of dollars and I'm like, damn, that's not my money, but that's dope. Because like, I know how to navigate it. Psychology is the key.
Yeah.
Like, that's it. It's that simple.
So you want to, I think that's big, right? Because social selling is a huge topic within organizations. One of the areas that I'm big on is influencer marketing, right? It's kind of, I hate that term, and that's a whole nother podcast, just on that term alone. But for me, it ultimately does help bring social selling and money back to the business, but it's more about, so what am I trying? It's more about, for me, social media should be about it's social, right? Is in engage,
Yeah.
right? How?
I think that's more on the like the Facebook side though.
Yeah. So I primarily look at Twitter and LinkedIn, right? Those are the two platforms I like the most.
Yeah.
Started to post a lot more on LinkedIn in probably the last few weeks than I have, or all the years that I've been in there, because from an industry perspective and from a B2B perspective, LinkedIn is the platform, right?
Yeah.
When you're looking at a business to business marketing or social engagement, that's where LinkedIn takes the cream of the crop. And I think last year I read a report, they have like 70% growth in revenue, and I think from a social activity standpoint.
Mm-hmm.
And I do notice that I do get some good engagement on um, LinkedIn, and that's what I like, right? It's the people I connect with, and I enjoy networking with them there, and I enjoy sharing content. But my content strategy is here. The stuff that I post on LinkedIn isn't the same stuff necessarily that I'm going to post on Twitter, because Twitter, forget it. During a Patriots game, all hell breaks loose. Because that's me. It's my own personal thing. I've done some that have been questionable and probably affect my chances down the road with certain stuff and whatnot. But I own that, right? Because that's my Twitter profile. Now my Facebook strategy is a little different. I have a Facebook page for my blog, but it just auto post stuff, right? And I don't many people on there. It's more for my friends and family so they can see what's going on there, but also for me to have an understanding of the platform, right? And just to be like, oh yeah, I can navigate this and I can develop a strategy across, because when I was doing it for a corporate industry, I know the stuff to post there and how to engage with users back there. But not everyone tries to learn all these platforms, because there's so many different platforms out there.
Oh yeah.
To find the right, 2 or 3 to focus your energy on is time consuming, and a lot of companies don't want to invest in that.
Yeah.
That's the challenge, of saying, no, this is good. And if you look at, corporations that have millions of dollars of budget a year for social media stuff, and most of them, I find out afterwards, they hire agencies to do it, right? This is where people like us that are kind of freelance and have our own small businesses are like, hey, but it's breaking into that industry and making those contacts and saying, hey, listen, we can help you here, and here's how we can help you. And I think having your perspective and keeping that focus of saying, this is how I help. Now, would you say that you're more targeted towards business to consumer side of social?
No, I don't know. I think I'm more actually just, I don't know. I think this is a weird thing to say, but attention versus attention. And what I mean by that is how to have me interact with people, give them my perspective, but then underneath that platform of having people interact with each other about what I'm speaking about. everybody wants to shine their 2 cents on things that I say, but also I want people, in the comment section and things like that to interact with each other. And then from having that kind of background and, doing that on a daily basis, then transfer that into B2B, because on the other side, I have an agency. Yep. And I sell to businesses. I work with businesses. Sometimes I work with personal brands. So that's basically, business to consumer. But when I'm trying to work with actual businesses, that's all B2B. But I'm the real person behind that B. It's kind of weird because it's kind of funny now how social media has transformed from having personal brands and then having your business. And people can either communicate you on either platform or either, social handle. And it's kind of funny because you have to keep what you say as a personal brand in a certain manner that it relates to what you do as a business. Because there's a lot of people who are in sales who talk about sales on their personal brand, and they actually have a business that helps people with sales.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Keeping the messaging across the board. So
yeah.
We can go offline with a different conversation that I won't have recorded and publicized and along those lines, right? And that's where social media, as for users and professionals, kind of gets blurred, right?
Yeah.
I think you hit a topic for another podcast. If you'd like to come on and talk about this one specific topic on another episode, on specifically that messaging across the lines would be really good. But so we're wrapping up here. We have final thoughts.
Final thoughts. Just some inspirational words, I guess you could say.
Absolutely.
I would say that for anybody listening who wants to build a business online and feels stuck and doesn't know where to start, and they say they don't have a lot of money, it's really not that hard. It really isn't that hard. Not starting, but actually going through the motions every single day is a lot harder than just starting. And a lot of you are scared to start. And I want to let you know that it's really not that scary when you get consumed in something that you really like. And when I first started, I was stuck. Okay, I'll admit that I was stuck. I didn't know anything. I literally had to fake it a little bit to understand things and try to learn from people. But when you actually admit that you're lost, you're willing to find people who can help you. And a lot of people are not willing to have people help them, because the one thing that I've seen, just as a part of like psychology in general, is when you tell people that they did something wrong and you want them to fix that, they always say, okay, I get it now. I get it now. And you've seen this. I'll tell you the truth. They really don't get it. They'll just say that to get that person off their back. And for me, I actually wanted to learn. So when I didn't understand something, I asked. I found people who could help me. Mm-hmm. And if you really need people who can help you, they are out there. Either through reading, through mentors, whatever the case may be, they are out there. You just have to be willing to be open-minded enough to learn. And 4 months ago, I started this business, and I wasn't even making a lot of money at all. Literally nothing. $400 a month. That's it. That's it. It's nothing. But now we've scaled to 9 clients now, and it really is possible. If you do good work, if you stay optimistic, if you don't let the dirt splash you in the face as much, you're going to make it. It's that simple. And I have faced a lot of doubt because my age, and that's the age gap, that thing that you talk about, is some businesses who have 45-year-old owners aren't willing to trust people like me. Like, why would I trust a 21-year-old kid? And why would I pay a 21-year-old kid? You know? And that's just something that you just have to pass up. And it's just that simple. I mean, I've had an awesome journey so far. It's been very up and down, but recently it's been up. It's been good recently. Right. I have to say.
And you learn from the damage.
Yeah. But if you guys want to follow me, my Instagram is @jason.wojo. My Twitter is jasonwojo with 2 O's at the end. And yeah, follow in for the journey. It's going to be a fun ride. So yeah, I mean, thanks for having me on the podcast. It was an awesome talk. I would love to be on again. So just let me know. It was awesome.
Like I said, I'm always looking for guest topics and so forth. And they're very informal, And until next time, folks.